It started on the outer rim colony of Rho 47, a planet covered in silver forests and glowing rivers. The Human Alliance had sent Commander Ryan Holt to secure the area, train the local alien forces, and prepare them for future conflict. Among the alien troops was a young, proud soldier named Liari, one of the most talented fighters of the Xanthari race. She had violet skin, sharp emerald eyes, and a heart that refused to bow. Liari didn't like humans. She didn't hate them, but she saw them as arrogant. They arrived with their orders and rules, acting like they knew best. She was respected among her own kind, but under human command, she was just another recruit. And that, to her, was an insult. Commander Holt noticed her quickly. She moved like a hunter, sharp and graceful. Her aim was perfect, her reflexes even better. But her eyes always held defiance, especially when he gave orders. The tension built. Day by day, during training, she corrected human officers. During drills, she did things her own way. One day, during a mock battle, she ignored Holt's command to retreat. Instead, she charged forward, broke through the enemy line, and won the objective. Her unit cheered, but Holt did not. Later that evening, in the dusty command tent, Holt called her in. She entered, chin high, shoulders stiff, gaze locked with his. "You disobeyed a direct order," he said calmly. "I won the battle," she answered coldly. "You risked lives. I saved them." There was silence. The air between them thickened like a storm about to break. "You don't understand discipline," Holt finally said. "I don't need discipline when I have instinct. And that instinct will get someone killed," he replied, standing now, taller than her, his voice still quiet but strong. "You're talented, Liari, but talent without discipline is just noise." Her jaw tightened. "Maybe you're just afraid I fight better than your men." "Maybe," he said, stepping closer. "Or maybe I see a soldier wasting her potential just to prove a point." She blinked, surprised at the words. Then he said something she didn't expect. "Tomorrow you and I one-on-one. No weapons, no rank, just a test of control. If you win, I'll give you command of the next mission." She stared at him, lips slightly parted. This human ... He wasn't just strong, he understood her. And he wasn't afraid to challenge her directly. "Agreed," she said, without hesitation. Word of the challenge spread through the camp like fire. Humans and Xanthari gathered the next morning. To watch, the ring was marked by stones, no weapons. Just skill. Liari moved like a shadow, fast, elegant, deadly. But Holt ... He was solid. Every punch she threw, he blocked. Every move she tried to land, he redirected. He wasn't just defending, he was reading her. Their fight lasted minutes. But to the crowd, it felt like hours. She struck fast, twisting, trying to break his balance. But Holt didn't fall. He let her wear herself out. And when she began to slow, he moved. A single sweep of his leg, and she was down. Not hard. Not violent. Just precise. She hit the ground, chest rising and falling, eyes wide. Holt stood over her, offering a hand. She took it. He pulled her up, but said nothing. The crowd was silent. Too. Even the trees seemed to wait. Then she whispered, "You didn't fight to win. You fought to teach me." He nodded once. "Now you understand." That night, Liari sat by herself, staring into the silver flames of a cooking fire. She had never lost a fight before. Not like that, and yet, she didn't feel shame. She felt something else. Respect. That the war wasn't over. And tomorrow, new orders would arrive. Bigger threats. Bigger tests. And for the first time, she was ready to follow her human commander, not out of fear. Asterisk. The next morning, the camp woke to new orders. A signal had come from the deep forest zone. Unit 9 had gone silent. No transmission. No beacon, no signs of life. Commander Holt stood over the map, frowning. Unit 9 had been investigating a strange alien energy source buried underground. Something old. Something dangerous. Liari stood near him, armor strapped, silent but focused. She was different now, not soft but calm. She waited for his plan instead of interrupting. The lesson from their fight had settled deep inside her. We move in a team of 5, Holt said, pointing to the path through the forest. No vehicles, too loud, we go silent, fast and ready. He looked at her. You'll take point. She nodded. No smart remarks. Just acceptance. Holt noticed the change but said nothing. Trust was forming slowly, like steel forged in heat. Moved out before sunrise. Holt, Liari, and 3 other soldiers, 2 humans, 1 Zenthari. The forest was thick with silver-leaved trees that shimmered like glass. Birds with glowing wings flew overhead. The place was beautiful, but something was wrong. Too quiet. Liari raised a fist, signaling a halt. Her ears twitched slightly. She crouched, eyes scanning the brush. Movement, she whispered. Holt moved beside her. How many? She closed her eyes, listening. 5, maybe 6, but they single quotes redact. Low, to the ground. Not walking upright. That wasn't normal. The team fanned out slowly. Liari led them through the trees like a ghost, every step light and calculated. Then they found it. The remains of Unit 9's camp, tents torn apart, weapons melted, armor shredded. But no blood. No bodies. Just drag marks in the mud. They didn't run, Holt said, examining a shattered helmet. They were taken. Whatever did this wasn't normal, Liari muttered. She picked up a piece of black stone, cracked and pulsing faintly with blue light. This is not from our planet. The team stiffened. Suddenly, a scream echoed through the forest. A voice. Zenthari. Alive, Liari gasped. Holt raised his hand. We move, now. They followed the sound quickly, weapons drawn. The scream came again, weaker this time. Then they saw the pit. A deep hole in the ground with strange black roots wrapping around it like claws. At the bottom, one of the missing soldiers, barely breathing. Tangled in the roots. Liari didn't wait. She jumped. Liari! Holt called out, but she was already inside the pit, slicing through the roots with her blade. The roots moved alive. One whipped toward her. She rolled and slashed. Holt slid down after her, covering her side. I told you to wait. He growled. And I told you, instinct, she snapped back. Breathless. Together they freed the soldier. The roots screamed yes, screamed and shook the pit. Holt grabbed Liari's hand. Climb now. The team above pulled them out just in time. The roots below turned red hot and sank into the earth. They dragged the wounded soldier to safety. His body was marked with strange glowing patterns. Not wound symbols. I don't know what's happening here, Holt said, panting. But this isn't a simple recon mission anymore. Liari stared at the pit, then at the sky. We woke something. As they returned to camp with the wounded man, silence filled the team. Everyone had seen the pit, the roots, the glow. Something ancient had been buried in the planet, and it wasn't happy to be disturbed. That night, Liari didn't sit alone. She sat near Holt, not close but not distant either. There was a sense of unity now, even if neither of them spoke it. A loud dot in her heart, she knew the forest would strike again. But this time, she wouldn't face it alone. She had her team and her commander. The camp was quiet, but no one was sleeping. The wounded soldier from Unit 9 was placed in a med pod. He muttered in his sleep, words that didn't belong to any known language. His skin pulsed with blue light, the same color as the strange symbols on his body. Commander Holt stood beside the pod, arms crossed, eyes sharp. Liari watched him from the shadows, her tail flicking once in thought. She didn't like the feeling in the air. It was heavy, like the forest was holding its breath. Suddenly, the pod beeped. The soldier sat up with a gasp, eyes wide. Everyone rushed over. Holt held him steady. "What happened to your team?" he asked firmly. The soldier's voice trembled. "We went too deep into the ruins. There was a temple under the earth. We touched something. It moved. It woke up." Liari leaned in. "What was it?" "I don't know. It wasn't a machine. It wasn't alive either. But it had a voice. It spoke in our minds." The pod alarm shrieked. His pulse was spiking. The med tech tried to calm him, but the blue light on his skin flashed brighter. His eyes turned glassy. Then, without warning, he screamed and the pod exploded from the inside, throwing everyone back. Smoke and sparks filled the tent. Liari coughed and pulled herself up. Holt was already on his feet, helping the others. The soldier was gone. Nothing left but melted metal. Holt looked at Liari. "We need to shut that thing down," she nodded. "I'll guide the team. You and I go first. Just us. We scout ahead. If it's too dangerous, we pull back." "No," she said quietly. "This is our fault. My people found the first ruin. We ignored the warnings. Let me face it." Holt studied her face. The pride was still there, but now it was balanced with duty. "All right," he said. "But we face it together." Before dawn, they entered the forest again. The other soldiers stayed behind, keeping watch over the camp. Liari and Holt moved silently, using old hunter paths through the glowing trees. Hours passed. The deeper they went, the colder it got. The light from the trees faded. The ground turned dark and soft. Then, through the thick mist, they saw it. A stone doorway, half buried in the ground. Symbols ran along its surface, glowing faintly. Liari touched one gently. "It's a warning," she whispered. "It says, he sleeps beneath. He binds the flesh. He drinks the soul." Holt took a breath. "Then let's not wake him." They stepped inside. The ruins stretched downward, a spiral of stone stairs. Strange murals covered the walls, creatures with too many arms, cities burning, stars turning black. The deeper they went, the more Liari's skin itched. "This place is wrong," she said softly. Then, they reached the bottom. A wide chamber opened before them. At its center was a massive black orb, floating in the air. Tendrils of light moved around it, slow and alive. Holt raised his weapon. Liari held up a hand. "No," she said. "Weapons won't help here." She stepped forward. The orb pulsed. Voices filled her head. "Child of war. Child of blood. You do not belong." Liari winced but stayed standing. "We made a mistake. We disturbed your rest. You walked freely. You touched the seal. The price must be paid." A tendril shot out toward Holt. Liari moved fast. She grabbed Holt's arm and pulled him aside. The tendril slammed into the wall, burning a hole through solid stone. "We have to go," Holt said. But Liari stepped forward again. "Let me speak to it." "Are you insane?" "No, I understand now. It doesn't hate us. It was made to judge, to protect something ancient." Holt hesitated, then stepped back. Liari knelt before the orb. "I offer myself, not in fear but in truth. Take my strength, my past, my blood, but spare my people." The orb hovered silently. Then it dimmed. Everything stopped. The orb floated slowly back into the ground. The room turned still, cold but peaceful. Liari collapsed. Holt ran forward, catching her. Her eyes fluttered open. "I'm still here?" "You did it," he whispered. She gave a weak smile. "No, we did." Liari's body felt cold, but her heart still beat. Holt carried her back through the forest, one arm under her shoulders, careful not to jostle her too much. She didn't speak on the way back. Her eyes were open, but she stared ahead like she was watching something far away, something no one else could see. At the camp, medics rushed to help her. Holt stayed close, his hand never leaving hers. He didn't say it, but the fear in his eyes showed everything. For the first time, he wasn't just a commander. He was someone who cared. After hours of rest, Liari finally spoke. "I hear." "Whispers." Holt leaned forward. "What kind of whispers?" She slowly turned her head. "The orb left something inside me. A voice. It doesn't hurt, but it's always there. It's not evil. Just ... Ancient." The medics ran scans. Her vitals were normal, no sign of infection. But her blood showed strange patterns. Not just glowing vein symbols. Like the ones on the walls of the ruins. "Whatever you touched, it marked you," Holt said softly. Liari sat up. "Then let's not waste it." She walked out of the med tent, slower than usual, but with purpose. Soldiers, both human and Zenthari, stared at her, some with fear, some with awe. That evening around the fire she stood before them. "There's something beneath this planet," she said. "A force from before our time. It's not here to kill. It's here to guard something. And we disturbed it. I spoke to it. I survived. But I don't know for how long," the soldiers murmured. Holt stepped up beside her. "Our job isn't done," he said. "We don't leave threats behind. We either destroy them or understand them." Liari nodded. "And I will go back." "No." Holt said, "We will." The next day, the team returned to the ruins. This time, they brought scanners, drones, and a proper science unit. Liari led the way, her senses sharper than ever. She could feel the orb, even though it had vanished. The whispers in her mind were guiding her. In the chamber, the orb was gone, but the walls had changed. More symbols, more images. This time, one of them looked like her, a tall figure with violet skin, standing between two warring armies. Behind her, a black sun. Liari reached out and touched it. Suddenly, her mind filled with visions. Planets dying, ships burning. A single voice speaking. "Through the chaos. You are chosen to bind the line. If the gate breaks, you must close it." She gasped and fell back. Holt caught her. "What did you see?" She looked at him, breath shaking. "There's a gate, somewhere on this planet. A prison. If it opens, everything we know will burn." He helped her stand. "Then we stop it." But it wasn't that easy. Back at camp, High Command called through the long-range relay. A human admiral appeared on screen, stern and cold. "You've gone beyond your original mission," he said to Holt. "We found something dangerous," Holt replied. "We need backup, not questions." The admiral frowned. "You're not cleared to open ancient ruins without permission." This could be a diplomatic crisis if the Zenthari leadership wasn't informed. Liari stepped into view. "Then let me speak for my people. What we found is not a myth, it's real. And it's waking up." The admiral stared at her quiet, then said, "You have 72 hours, then we send extraction. If the problem isn't solved by then, we glass the area." The screen went dark. Liari turned to Holt. "They'll destroy everything, even the innocent, just to be safe." He nodded. "Then we don't wait. We stop whatever's coming." Now Liari felt the whispers again. A single word repeated in her mind. "Gatekeeper." That she didn't understand it fully. But she knew one thing. She had been changed. And the fate of two species now rested on what she would do next. The forest grew darker as Liari and Holt pushed deeper into the uncharted zone. Drones couldn't map this far. The interference from the underground structure was too strong. The air was thick and still, and even the glowing trees no longer offered light. But Liari moved without fear. Her steps were guided by something only she could feel. The whispers in her mind had grown stronger, not loud, but clearer. They weren't warnings now. They were directions. Holt walked beside her, his weapon ready, eyes sharp. He hadn't said much since the Admiral's order, but Liari could feel the tension in him. He didn't trust command to make the right choice. Neither did she. They reached a clearing surrounded by cracked stone pillars. In the center, hidden beneath vines and dust, was a gate. It wasn't made of metal. It looked like black glass, rippling like water. Liari stepped forward and placed her hand on it. The surface shimmered under her fingers. "This is it," she whispered as she touched the gate. The ground shook. Roots burst from the earth. A pulse of dark energy rippled out in every direction. Then came the sound screeches, sharp and broken, echoing through the trees. Creatures crawled out from the shadows. Twisted forms with too many limbs, eyes glowing blue. Guardians. "Here they come," Holt muttered. He stepped in front of Liari. "No," she said. "This is my fight." She moved fast, dodging the first beast, landing a hard strike to its center. The whispers in her mind flowed through her limbs, guiding her movement like second nature. She didn't fight with brute strength. She danced through them like a storm. The beasts hesitated. They could sense she wasn't just flesh anymore. She was marked. One tried to leap at Holt from behind. She turned instantly and threw a blade straight into its skull. Holt didn't flinch. He knew she was watching him. More came. Too many. Then Liari closed her eyes and raised her hand. The symbol on her wrist glowed. The beasts froze, one by one. They backed away, crawling into the shadows. The clearing turned quiet again. Holt stepped beside her. "You didn't just stop them. You commanded them." "I didn't mean to," she said slowly. "But the gate, it recognized me." She turned to face him. "I'm the gatekeeper now. That's what the orb gave me." Holt didn't speak right away. He looked at the black gate, still pulsing like a heartbeat. "What's behind it?" She looked at the ground. "I don't know exactly, but I feel it. A hunger. A storm. If it breaks free, it won't care who lives here. It will destroy everything." "Then we shut it," she nodded. "There's one way. I have to bind myself to the gate fully. Seal it with my own energy. But once I do that, you won't be the same." "I may not even be me," she said softly. He stepped closer. "Then let me do it." "No," she whispered. "The gate won't take you. It called me." Holt reached out and touched her shoulder. "You were a defiant soldier once. Now you carry the fate of two worlds. Funny how things change." She smiled slightly. "You helped me change." She turned to the gate. The symbol on her wrist glowed brighter. The black glass began to crack on purpose. She raised her hands, let the light spread through her arms, chest, eyes. The roots lifted from the ground, circling her like smoke. Gate groaned. A beam of white light shot from the center. Liari walked into it. The gate trembled. Holt reached out, but she looked back one last time. "You taught me control," she said. "Now I will use it." And then she vanished into the light. The gate sealed behind her. The wind stopped. The clearing fell. Silent. Holt stood alone. But the planet was safe. For now. For 3 days. The gate remained silent. Holt didn't leave the clearing. He sat near the sealed surface, eyes fixed on the black glass that once shimmered with power. No message came. No voice. No sign. Just silence. The forest around him returned to peace. Birds sang again. The trees glowed gently. But something still felt missing. At the camp, the others waited for his return. But Holt sent a message. "I'll return when I understand what she became." Then on the 4th night, the gate pulsed once. Holt stood immediately, heart racing, from the surface. A single symbol appeared, the same glowing mark Liari carried on her wrist. And then, her voice not spoken, but felt, "Commander Holt." "It's me," he breathed out slowly. "Liari? Yes, but not as I was. The gate didn't destroy me. It changed me. I'm part of it now. And part of this planet." Holt stepped closer. "Are you alive?" "In a different way. I can feel everything. Now the roots, the rivers, the life below. I can hold the gate closed from inside. It cannot break free again. Not while I remain." He placed his hand on the glass. You shouldn't have had to do this alone. I wasn't alone. You stood with me. You gave me something my own people never did: patience, trust, respect. He smiled faintly. And you gave me something I didn't expect either: loyalty, in your own way. Tell them I'm not gone. Tell the humans and the Xanthari that we don't need to fight for control. We only need to understand each other. The light faded. The gate returned to silence, but the mark remained. Later that week, Holt returned to base. The soldiers gathered as he stood before them. He looked stronger somehow, but quieter. Not just a commander anymore. She stopped the darkness, he said. The threat is over, because of her. He told them everything about the gate, the voice, the sacrifice. And about Liari. The humans saluted. The Xanthari bowed their heads. From that day on, they built a monument in the clearing. A tall silver statue of Liari, her hand stretched forward, the symbol glowing on her wrist. Beneath it, in both languages, were the words she challenged. Command, and became its heart. Years passed. The planet grew into a peaceful outpost, shared by both species. No more war. No more fear. Holt never forgot her. He visited the statue every year, placing a single violet flower at its base, the kind that grew only near the gate. He never saw her again, but sometimes, when the wind blew through the forest just right, he swore he could hear her voice, strong, proud, and unafraid.